Hi, my name is Fredrikk Enevál. I'm a current affairs producer at Swedish television. I've done several series about nationalism, the growth both in Sweden and in Europe. So I was asked to say a few words about the crisis for the Social Democrats here in Sweden and also the rise of the nationalism. So to understand the Social Democrat situation, you have to back up at just after the World War II. The success in Sweden was very much thanks to the idea of the svenska folkhemmet. It was an idea that the state would be almost like parents and the citizens would be the children. And the good parents would give all the benefits equally to the children, the citizens. And that idea was stressing equality, equal rights, equal obligations, and equal opportunities. It was very, very well settled in Sweden. Also very much based on that, if you listen to the rhetoric, it's not so far away from where the enemies came from, their rhetoric about nationalism and so on, and unify the country. All those words were in the language of folkhemmet as well, but no one was excluded, everyone was included. So that idea almost formed a core idea of the Swedish people and has stuck with us for a very long time. It gave Sweden a huge goal. It was a very clear story for the Social Democrats to tell. Svenska folkhemmet, the people's home. Very, very clear picture. The economy was wonderful. We prospered very well. Also, because of the fact that we hadn't been occupied during the World War II. So after the war, we had all the factories and all the possibilities to export to the rest of Europe and benefit on that. So Sweden prospered very much. And then the years went on, and after some time, EU came on and was introduced, the community of Europe, which should grant that there would never happen anything like the World War II again. And also we in Sweden, we accepted that idea. We voted yes in the middle of the 90s and so on. And then somewhere there, it started to be more blurry, the story that the Social Democrats was actually telling. It was like a division between the parties and the people, because the people were still in the mindset of one country, one unification, special characteristics that was Swedish, while the Social Democrats and many other parties were talking about Europe and a community within Europe. That was totally two different pictures, and that started a division between the people and the parties. And then, as you know, the Balkan Wars started in the middle of the 90s. We had many refugees coming to Sweden as well as many other countries. There was a worry of what is to become of Sweden, what values are important, and so on. And there were no politicians talking about these really core values. Actually, at that time, it wasn't very popular and fancy to talk about Sweden and this romantic picture of Sweden, since we were supposed to be a part of a bigger community, Europe and the EU. In that clash, in that division between the parties and the people, was a very good time for the nationalistic parties to grow. That's where you see the Swedish Democrats start to move. And also in other countries, like our neighboring countries. Actually, they moved much faster in Norway and Denmark because those populistic countries, those anti-immigration countries, they came from a different background. They were actually established from the start they were anti-bureaucracy parties, and then their rhetoric switched to more anti-immigration. In Sweden, the Swedish Democrats, the roots came from the extreme right movement, which was very negative for many years. So they had a slower start. Now it's not so much talk about their roots anymore. It's much more of their rhetoric today. So they filled a hole, and they had a very clear story to tell. They took the words folkhemmet. They say, we are the ones talking about unifying Sweden. We are talking about the core values of the Swedish people. We are safeguarding the values against foreign cultural influence. And the leader of the Swedish Democrats, he has said words like, if the father of folkhemmet would be living today, he would be a member of our party, and so on, which of course is a huge thing for all the Social Democrats to hear. Anyway, so that's the background and that's the situation. Also, within the Social Democrats, they are aware that they don't have a story to tell. They don't have a unifying message. It's a huge split within the party, which also grows all the time. Now we have a very special situation. We have, after the election in September, we have 3 different political groups. We have the left, we have the right, and we have the Swedish Democrats in the middle. And none of them wants to cooperate with the Swedish Democrats. So no one of the groups gain enough influence. So after 4 months, the Social Democrats formed a government with support from the liberal right. But that means that the Social Democrats have to switch to more liberal right politics, which also makes the Social Democrats even more confusing, and the people doesn't know anymore what do the Swedish Social Democrats stand for, what is their message, and that's in that situation we are right now. Most people think that lots of parties are blur of what they want, but the Swedish Democrats, they have a very clear message which has worked very well